this part is for the budget committee. A roll call, Lee Richards,
Yes.
Shane Walker is absent. Greg Nivens,
Here.
Randall Boswell,
Here.
Geraldine Walker.
Here.
So, Shane's the only one absent, all else is here. Need a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting held June 6, 24.
Yeah.
Greg make the motions, or second?
Greg said.
I'm sorry,
Greg second.
Greg seconded, Lee made the motion, Greg seconded. All four say aye. All opposed likewise. Motion passed. We don't have any amendments, so we'll move on to, new or old business. We do have the bids. I think Darwin,
I got it. This is for the Wendell Community Bridge down off of Wendell Community over Roaring River. The engineer went and scored, the bidders. We had 6 to pick up, bid packets. We only had 4 to send bids back in. And they were Adams Construction, the Mint Construction down at Jackson, Jones Brothers out of Mount Juliet, and Mid-State put a bid in. The lowest bid is Jones Brothers out of Mount Juliet. They came in at 109,018,55.60.
That's 1901, wasn't it?
1901.
Yeah.
55.5.60. And the second bidder, low bidder, was Demont, and they were 1.986912.65. Kyle, the engineer, has drafted a letter of recommendation, which I've got it in the packet for the budget director. And as soon as they can get a contract with TDOT done and signed and back, then we'll know when we're getting ready to start the project. So I would like to submit to Kyle Hazel's recommendation of Jones Brothers, lowest bidder, to do the construction, tear down and reconstruction of the Wendell Community Bridge, off the Wendell Community over Roaring River.
Who made that recommendation?
Pardon?
Who made the recommendation?
Kyle Hazel,
Kyle Hazel.
H-A-Z-E-L, he's with Hazel Engineering.
These fellows that was here doesn't matter.
Yes, that's it.
I make motion that Jones Brothers.
so Kyle Hazel made the recommendation, to take the lowest bid of Jones Brothers at $1,901,555.60.
Yep, and he scored it in there for y'all too, so if you want to look at the breakdown, that would have to back up for that.
Randall Boswell made the motion to accept, Lee made the second. Is there any discussion?
Do we have a grant? How much is it?
It's a high priority bridge project that we have, we built the bridge like we did over the City Lake. It's a 98-2 grant. TDOT will pay 98%, which is the state, and then we'll have a 2% match with it. They are in the budget for next year. And probably after July, probably before we start the project.
Any other discussion on it? If not, Geraldine Walker,
Yes.
Randall Boswell,
Yes.
Greg Nivens,
Yes.
Lee Richards,
Yes.
all four. So Jones Brothers was awarded the grant, or the project.
It will go before court.
It'll go to full court through the budget. Any other new or old business? No other new or old business, I'll take a motion to adjourn the budget meeting. Randall makes a motion, do I hear a second? All four say aye. All against likewise. Four have it. Budget meeting is adjourned. We will enter into our work session now for the presented budget. We'll take one pass and then this will probably be the easiest.
One down, back to that. That's one down, back to that.
Anybody else need one? Okay, all is passed out and
Yeah.
Yes, we had an awesome time.
I brought my notes from
I'm good right here.
All right, Connie's going to discuss the tax levy.
Okay, so in this packet is page 1 through 50. I just want to make sure everybody's got all the pages.
Can we draw that?
Yes. Yes. Okay, we'll just start with page 2. Looking at the tax penny, the value of the penny, the assessment value of the property, and then the breakdown of the pennies by fund. Okay, so what we're looking at is a proposed tax rate of 2.6708. And then you can see example for the general fund with the breakdown, the way it is shown there. The dollar amount that would go into the general fund would be $8,854,151. Did everybody see that?
Yes.
And in the solid waste fund, $374,727 would go into that fund. And then in the highway fund, it would be $566,940. And the general purpose school fund, $1,978,561. That would give a total of $11,774,000. What this shows is that the tax rate for 2015 through 2020 was at 2.25, and then from 20 to 24 it was 1.97. So it's been 10 years since there's been a tax increase. And that's the proposed amount in order to maintain the services that we currently provide. So if you go to page 3, it'll show you a comparison of last year versus this year. You can see the breakdown of the funds. So you see the breakdown of 1.9706 versus the 2.6708. This is the tax levy that would be required to be passed in order for the tax rate to be changed to 2.6708. And I just put an example in there so you get familiar with the format.
Explain why the schools are getting.
Okay, the schools, that amount is not lowered, it's because the value of the penny has increased slightly, so you just are required to give them the same dollar amount.
Like the maintenance of Everett.
Yes. Did y'all have any questions about that? Page 4 is some of the same information summarized. It shows the property assessor, the calculation on the upper right-hand corner shows the calculation that the property assessor, how she come to the total assessment values, that $489,840,317. And of course, that's how, when you take those, the tax rate and the pennies, you calculate that. You get the gross penny of $48,984 with a net penny of $44,086. Do y'all have any questions about page 4? Okay, so page 5 through 26 is the general fund. And in that fund, I calculated out on the right-hand side the differences. Some of the differences are related to grants and things like that. So if you see large numbers, you might want to wait to find out what the real cause of that is. But page 5 at the top, where we had just talked about the current property tax, on the very first line, that would go from 5.8 to 8.8. There are no other places for us to have to get any other revenues, so that's our only option. And you can look at that and see the different revenues, the estimated revenues, the local taxes. The budget amount for next year is $10,646,000. That's a total of local taxes. The next category is licenses and permits, $47,500. Your fines and forfeitures and penalties will take you on to page 6. $83,824. The charges for current services. I'll let y'all take a look at what all those are. Where you see patient charges, that's the ambulance service revenue. We've estimated it to be 1.5. And the other charges would total 1.675, and that will take you on to page 7. You can see there are not a lot of others, large amounts there. Okay, and then local revenues. Lease rentals, let's say from the Joe Evans, from the industrial development, other local revenues is $142,130. Fees from county officials, the fee offices, we're projecting that they will bring in $1,057,000.
That far column to the right there, the total revenues from the, what we had coming in, are we down 30,667? Is that what that means?
Okay, so what it means is, you see, on miscellaneous refunds, it's really depend, on the miscellaneous refunds, that could be a refund that I get from like workers' comp or something, so that may vary a large amount. So it's not really an effective decrease. It's not, it just would depend. Then we get some revenues from the state of Tennessee on grants for like our aging programs, the senior center, juvenile services, law enforcement training programs. And the other grants are continue on page 8. Let's see, we have a grant through their health department, we have a litter grant. Right now, the money that we're going to be getting from the opioid settlements will start to come in there. And then, 3-star grant, you can see that. You move on down to other state revenues. We normally try to apply for every grant that we can. And let's see, you'll see a large amount, the $361,436. That is the food insecurity grant that, Amanda Maynard had us to apply for, and we were awarded that. So
With the 3 places.
we have, the state litter contract. And then if you go on to page 9,
I'm sorry to back up so far, but on that opiate settlement money, that 118,000, that's not what we have total right now, right?
no, that is, it was, recorded in different areas, but we have an accumulated amount. And where we received it over different years, so we have a reserve fund that we can check that, and I don't have a total right now.
So it's in another fund
Yeah.
somewhere.
But it's, we'll start calculating it together, and then that way we'll be able to see how much you have to disperse back out. We're on page 9. So the total state of Tennessee revenues that we are budgeting for is $2,035,000. The federal grants that we have applied for, you can see on the areas where there's numbers, if we try to write out to the right exactly what that grant is, so that you have an idea of what it pertains to and who it's helping. If y'all have any questions about that, you can ask me, but I usually try to write a little note or something on the right of it, so that one, I can remember, and then two, y'all can be aware of it also. So the total federal revenues that we anticipate is $3,397,000. You'll find that on page 10. Okay, and then the other governments and citizens groups. What that is, the city gives us money for the library and the senior center. You can see the $5,000 and the $6,500. The contributions for property assessor, that's where the city shares with the county in paying for the reappraisals. And then you'll see opioid settlement money that hit. I haven't put anything in as far as what we're gonna get, but as soon as we get it, then we'll do budget amendments at that time. Okay, and so the next little section is any transfer ins or transfers out. So a transfer in from the solid waste fund on an annual basis would be $32,000. Okay, now the next one is the $448,000 for the extra property by Tractor Supply. That we're transferring in from Fund 151.
What was that before coming, 151?
The debt service fund?
It's just adult debt service.
Uh-huh. So total revenues, $19,646,153. You wanna hit the expenditures? You wanna go over some expenditures?
Yeah. So the expenditures here, we have through the county commission, be 115,000. Of course, the social security, the state retirement, and the medical insurance, audit services, communication, and travel. So the expenditures for the county commission side is 178,498. The Board of Equalization, just totals up to 3,000, and that's, for the fees and, court costs and things. Next is the county executive's office. You have the payroll for everybody in the office, the social security, the state retirement, communications, data processing, dues and memberships, legal notes, maintenance and repairs, postal charges, travel, other contracted services, the office equipment, supplies and stuff totaling $395,849. The county attorney, of course, that's altogether is $55,646. Then the election commission, that's the ones that work in there, it comes down to all their office supplies. The next part is on the total for the election commission is $261,786.
Next for 2 elections.
Yeah, we have 2 elections coming out this year.
We have a maintenance of effort for elections, for the number of elections, so, that number go back down after, for the next year.
Then the register of deeds office.
Stephen,
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're gonna shoot me, but back up in your budget,
Mhm.
that bookkeeper that went from 29 to 42.
We budgeted for a full-time individual.
Oh, so the other one's not a full-time, that 29 is not full?
No,
Also, travel, how come that's went up from 35 to 16.5?
For mileage and things like that. There's not any in gas or maintenance or to the vehicles, and in that nature as well. That has went down.
A budget of 16.5, is that for the entire office? Or
Yeah, that's for my office.
for everybody, commissioners and all?
No, the commissioners have their own.
That's for me.
It's just
For the executive officer.
That's for my executive office. Any other questions on that part? Register of deeds office is where we had gotten to. When you add all theirs up, it's 236,870 or 97.
What page was it?
Page 12, sorry.
I'm sorry.
At 51600 there, register.
Yeah, we're down at the planning commission right in the middle. The planning, altogether is $20,948. When we get into our maintenance, our county buildings, custodial, maintenance personnel, part-time, when you get to all the maintenance, electricity and things like that. Keep going past, it has our natural gas, propane, we didn't put anything in for land, utilities, we didn't put anything for vehicles, office equipment is minimal. So altogether for maintenance, it's $4,725,000,
we did,
$459.
we did put in for land.
Oh, I'm
That's the
sorry,
same-
that
that's the same
land, I'm sorry, that was that
That's
448.
purchase of the land that we transferred.
I'm sorry, I
That's okay.
was on the wrong line there.
And that water, that 3 million water, that's that grant for the money for the,
Utility districts,
uh,
for the
Utility.
water utility districts.
is that the money that we got that we're using to put in all that water?
Yeah,
Out your way, right?
Yeah, they're out, they're all in there.
Oh, for the maintenance water repair, that 3 million grant there.
They started that.
They're supposed, they've started in North Overton, they're supposed to start in West Overton in October. From what they have stated. Okay, the other general administration. Total's $1,283,230.
And those numbers may change, I haven't got the, quotes back for workers' comp.
And then the provision, preservation of records is $20,024.
That's our archives.
She's doing a really good job down there, Pam. You ain't stopped in to see her. She's there on Thursdays and Fridays. The accounting and budgeting, altogether is $96,981. Property assessor's office is $322,961. County trustee's office is $266,719. County clerk altogether is $405,394. And circuit court. Give you a second to look down through there. The total of it's on the next page, on page 16. And it's $414,133. General Sessions Court is $216,748. And then drug court, it's all paid through a grant, $252,614. Chancery court, $365,426. Juvenile court, $34,864. District Attorney General, $8,431. The Judicial Commissioners, $41,672. Sheriff's Department, total for the Sheriff's Department is $2,956,490. The Special Patrol is $75,380. When we get into our jail, and if you look down towards the bottom, you'll see the 1.3 million in there, and then you'll see the 162.5. That's what we pay per year for the next 7 years. We've already made our first payment. So the 162.5 is what goes towards the litigation. And you'll see judgments there. That's there on that, and that comes to $2,741,450. Fire prevention and control, it's $250,000. Civil defense, it's $29,026. rescue squad, $10,100. Other emergency management is $200. The county coroner and medical examiner is $55. So the public health and welfare,
That's our local health department. And 83,000 of that is granted from the state.
What'd you say, Connie?
That's, 83,000 of that 153,000 is, state grant money.
153,857. Next is our ambulance service.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The 98, that wasn't what he agreed upon, was it?
We have to have that in here because we have not hired anybody yet.
And that's based on
Yes,
how
we
many
will go
years
with
service.
what the real salary schedule
That's-
is,
Yeah.
or what is determined by everybody else.
How many
His,
years of service is in there?
years of service.
Yeah, that would be his years of service, if it were him full-time with, with it was Chris. If it's not, then you'll make some other arrangement, we wouldn't change that,
It had to at least be that amount.
yeah.
So even though he said he would take 50, that's still what will be getting
It
paid?
it just hadn't been hired.
If he would take 50, he would be paid 50.
Mhm.
If it's
If he
agreed.
was hired, he'll be getting 50 plus his 911 salary.
Yes.
We straighten that out.
But as of right now, we just, nobody has been hired for the position, so we just have to prepare likewise.
I did take out the 60,000 for the assistant director.
Where are you gonna hire him?
I think they're all working right now on
We're trying to work out everything
And
on
they
both
needs to
sides.
be unended, so, 21.
So altogether for that total
Yes, we need to
ambulance
put that
service,
in paper,
What?
hiring that
the
Oh, the,
total on
oh,
that
name
is,
on street?
ambulance grant.
You mean posted in the paper?
It has to be.
no, it don't.
But will if
If we post it, but we'll work on that.
We need to work on getting, that settled with the director that's there now.
Okay. The total for the ambulance service budget is $3,935,528. And that's, could go down. The mental health center, $6,327.
6,000,
327. The other public health and welfare,
That's the nutrition program.
that's 97,543. The senior citizen assistant, senior center, it's 92,690. The library, was that added in, was we able to add the part-time?
She hasn't got me back the numbers yet.
Okay. So this is subject to change just a little. It's 251,623. A salary committee had approved for her to take 3 of the part-time from 20 to 24 hours, or to 24 hours, so we just have to have the numbers on that, right? So it won't change much, but it might change just a little, okay? Recreational, 38,000. Agriculture. $117,731. Direct extension services to soil conservation, it's $112,809. The tourism is $5,000. Industrial development, $41,000. Economic and community development,
You'll see that 361,436 again, that's where the food and security funds will be spent out of.
that's where it comes to $396,436.
Hey, back at the tourism, so we discussed giving, the city.
No, the chamber,
Yeah, where is that at?
that's that 5,000.
That's,
Okay, now the 5,000 is money that we would spend. The 15 is the money that would have to be related to tourism. It would come out of hotel motel tax.
yeah,
The 15,000.
so the total, but we increased that out there, that we give her back that, okay.
And the 21,000 underneath that is toward the chamber that we
Yeah,
already
okay,
been given.
yeah, all right, I see it now, I'm sorry.
No, that's good.
They gonna catch that man down there.
Stay on.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
industrial development, what, that contributions and stuff, what, is that where we used to pay Ray Evans and, Ricky Shelton and stuff, is that what that was?
Yes, ma'am.
So what does that go to now?
There's nothing in that line.
Where it says
Architects, engineers,
this stuff below it, the contributions and
It-
stuff, does
yeah,
that not go? with
That'll
that?
go towards the architects, engineers, and building construction, things like that. That's what's on that line right there. But as far as industrial development, we don't pay anybody to do any of that anymore.
So that contributions is just if we was to do something.
If we have to have an architect or.
So you're just
engineer or
budgeting it for, just in case we,
are you talking about the
the
21,000?
15,000.
The contributions, that
Well,
goes to,
yes,
the chamber.
21,000, that's chamber.
Oh, that's the.
That's the chamber.
Yes.
Okay.
The industrial development doesn't have anything under it. The
Okay,
15,000
sorry,
is
I thought all
what
that went with the industrial
Yeah.
development.
sorry. Total on, that is $396,436. Over at the airport, 7,200, that's for our part of the hangar. The veteran services, 41,679.
Is it
That's,
full-time?
that is not full-time, this is still part-time, we haven't, voted to, take the part, or full-time.
Okay.
So this in here would be a part-time position. Contributions, other agencies is 20,000.
That's UCHRA and UCDD.
Yeah, they're, they had to go up some this year. What is that line there? Oh, there are traffic lights, road signs, I'm sorry. It's 9,000. And the litter and trash is 44,500. Is that for Mitch?
Yes, and that's grant.
And that's the grant paid. Mitch will, be transferred over under John this year.
How's that gonna work if it's, with the grant?
Because he gets grants too.
This grant requires it.
Huh?
This grant requires,
For him to work under the sheriff?
yes.
Yeah, he's gonna be full,
We didn't want him to, he didn't want to, but by
Are
law.
we
he has
gonna
to.
train him some kind of way?
They're doing the training with him.
So he can
What about the
carry,
other?
He has to be considered a corrections officer now.
What about the other?
but corrections
Anybody
can't
takes
carry
out
a weapon
inmates.
now, can they?
Anybody that takes out inmates has to be a corrections officer or a police officer, so him having the inmates, he has to carry a gun, and he has to be considered a corrections
Can't
officer.
use a gun on,
Terry Deck still,
liability.
Well, that's state law now, they changed it this year. So they're going through training and things, that's the reason why Mitch had to be transferred out from me.
it's Terry Deck,
Terry
still doing
Deck's-
the other litter grants there. So he's gonna have both litter grants under his office now.
The
you
little
got-
grant will still show under ours, under the general fund, under the
But you're gonna pay the
64,000.
sheriff's department because he switched it, right?
We would just have to move him over on the salary schedule.
So I mean, you'll have to shift that grant to that on the south.
Well, the money, it's still just pretty much
Yeah,
going
the
through
money's still
us.
here.
That his position will be,
As a
So
corrections
you're gonna
officer.
pay him here, pay him out here, and he's gonna work over there.
It'll be out of the grant though, yeah,
yeah, could,
yeah.
And that works that way.
is that better than shifting the money over into a different category in the sheriff's department?
Yeah, that way we can keep up with the entire grant.
Well, it would, okay, if we done it that way, like, that would increase the maintenance of everything for the sheriff's department if we done it like that. And then if something happened to the litter grant, that we didn't get a federal
Right.
funding that year,
Right,
we're still stuck with a,
right.
44,500.
that makes sense.
And then it run out this year, about 6 weeks before the 1st of July. And if we put it under his budget, then we run out of money, then it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
We ran out, end of April this year.
So I
He
just,
can't
so
work
we're just
till
putting just
July 1st,
Mitch, is Terry gonna have to be considered
all of them.
all of them?
Anybody that takes out inmates has to be considered a corrections officer, and they have to carry a gun. They have to have training on it. So total expenditures, 21,295,649.
I'm sorry, Steve, what page we on now?
We're on 26.
I know, it's a large amount, isn't it? But I mean, you can see every single, change and difference, in every line item. And it's just something you have to see for yourself, because it's unimaginable.
Everything just went up tremendously. Okay,
So that's the general fund.
that's the general fund.
So with the fund balance, where's that gonna put us? It's showing us that we're $1,000,006 into the hole, so we're gonna have to come up with some way to break this thing down to even it up. I mean, we can't operate in a negative balance, can we?
I mean, you never want to, but we have for years. I mean,
A negative balance?
yeah, not a negative balance, but a negative,
I know,
More
where you
revenue.
subtract it from your fund, yeah.
yeah, more expenditures than revenue.
Okay.
But if you did that, so you would be looking at a $1.6 million
Yeah.
plus the 70
Plus
cent.
that.
So, I mean, that's where you see that you're not being extravagant.
Sure, that's what I mean.
Yeah. So, so what I'm saying is, even if that number was positive, which I don't even remember if we've ever had it positive, but, you know, when they say balanced budget, generally you think that your revenues equal your expenditures. But even with the tax increase, that's why we don't have the option of a smaller tax increase. Because it's not like you're doing the 1.6 plus the entire amount for the 70 cents that it's already requiring.
So that's even with the tax increase?
Yes.
Will be
That's why,
1.6.
yeah, that's why I pointed out the increase in revenue on the property tax at the very beginning, at $3 million.
Mhm.
That's how, you know, it's like, how is that much money spent? And then there's the budget.
So the tax rate's gonna be what?
The proposed tax rate is 2.6708.
It's on page two.
It's on page 2.
Could we take a short break?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. We will go into a short recess if anybody wants to take a break.
Oh, I don't know. What could be wrong?
Clear shining.
You drink a gallon a day.
I said, that's But I mean.
How you want that about
And the hotter it gets, the more it makes.
I feel better since I've been
You have to.
drinking more water.
I think.
I've got a couple of them gallon Coleman jugs.
98.
I don't drink as much in the track. I do that, I keep a big one.
What they're doing.
Cup like
$3.
right there, a little behind. Water.
Just like start.
I pour them.
36 cans, yeah.
I can drink that just on.
3
Right
cans,
now, it'll take
3
like
cans.
$8.
Well, I don't like Aquafina. It's just tap water.
Show you, I think
About 2,000.
got over $1 million.
And
Okay,
the
okay.
$2 million, about
Around home.
Full, a little over 2,000. So I've done pretty good.
Drink mix.
So that'll help too.
Like $8,700 when I got out.
Flavor.
Yeah,
I drink more.
I mean, if
Time we got done, I ain't never.
everybody split their money,
Yeah.
so if they go ahead.
I had 3 cans, premium cash. 2 of them was just
800,000, something.
month
Yeah.
old.
Yeah, I already.
One year we were there.
Negative.
Negative eight.
That's usually better.
About where we usually get.
Well, that's pretty good money, I just let them ride.
I don't know, we're gonna have to, yeah.
You got eating that?
I mean,
Oh, yeah,
Just
one
look and
dog.
see where we
One
go.
dog.
Everybody needs to grab.
Everybody needs to stomp you away from
They
us.
could holler. I was down there, this guy had his crowd handles over where it has a crowd, inside the crowd, and he loaned them to me. We come over and got him that donkey, boy, he let it use, that's where you could hear him.
Any more coffee?
Yeah, you got some?
You know. Good, great.
Had some pressure behind her.
I had a crowd, see, but I just cut it down and put them camels in there.
Anybody want any coffee? I've got some up here.
You need to, thank you for video. You need to get that buddy up.
Genie, don't you?
About 7,000 a year.
Yeah. He probably said, wow.
I guarantee if you get a genie put in there,
He'll come.
your, he will come down, your herd will not increase in the first 10 months.
Right.
But now the first 14, then. First, yeah, some of them on guineas, they don't put up 13, 14 months.
We need one full time. We need a
I
part.
thought about it. Get one. You got plenty of pastures. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got one. I've done butch all it out, once flipped it out.
It's a big load.
You can pick up on guineas.
The cows had it there, the time I sold my cows in April to now, it was down high.
The election commission's travel was 0, and now it's 1,600. What
Plenty
is
of
it?
it.
Conference or something, travel.
But they didn't do it last year. But they usually do.
They only go every 2 years, I
Where did
think,
they go?
something like that. They
They,
take it out 1 year and then they make it.
the or he would, the family budget would.
He would,
But it only would be done.
and he would be the only one who would
And
be
then they have to allow.
that
They
high.
have
You
to
know what I'm
allow-
saying? On the street.
See, they have to-
They go whack down somewhere else.
People on the street.
But he's been around for all these years, so
No
they-
way, that's
I think we're waiting on Geraldine.
way down there.
Waiting on one more and then we'll get back to business. All right, we'll get back in it, because I know everybody's time's valuable. I got you over here, bud. Yeah. All right, you'll go to page 27, Connie's gonna go over some of the individual budgets.
Okay, so our courthouse and jail maintenance fund, number 112. None of the property tax goes toward that.
What page you say?
27. That's okay, we're waiting on Roger, I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize, he's in the cafeteria.
He's so quiet, I don't ever know if he's here or not.
There's somebody in
Oh, I thought she
wearing
walked
a
in.
Livingston Academy jacket and, clash ring, because when they stole Clint's truck, they, took those things.
Really,
Yeah.
always truck gets stolen.
Yeah, and they took his books and his computer. He called me that morning, he said, "We think they were gonna study?" I said, "No, I don't study."
Probably in.
Strip that truck.
Yeah, probably.
This is caffeinated.
So we,
Mother-in-law found her.
Okay, good stuff.
You might need it.
Better read it on it.
He's in cabinet, Geraldine.
That 27. She had that thing made into.
Roger, I got it right here, bud.
I'm getting a mumble.
I should've brought some cups out, I thought everybody.
It's hard to hear it.
Get some.
I thought they
There, push down on
Well,
that.
these are for long distance, these are for short distance. And these are just for,
You use
I get
Randall's, and Greg, you used Randall's one day, didn't you?
no, Randall tried to use mine.
He had three different carriers, one on his head, one on table, one on his face.
She signed it.
I'm drinking heavy.
All right, we'll get back on page 27.
That's all.
Page 27, courthouse and jail maintenance fund. None of the property tax, goes toward that fund. It's a small fund. The ending balance that we expect at the end of next year, $15,529. That would be used if we had, to make any changes or updates to the courthouse or any of the courtrooms. Your next fund is the solid waste fund. That's fund number 116. If you'll see under the county property taxes, the $374,727 on the far right. That's the amount of the proposed budget to be allocated toward the solid waste fund. The other major source of revenue is the local option sales tax of $960,000, for the total local taxes of 1.374. Charges for current services, your tipping and your surcharge waste tire disposals is $360,885 for a total of $378,500. Other local revenues would be sale of recycled materials and things like that, total $75,000. We currently do not have any grants, but we watch for those grants, and we have several people looking for us to get grants, because they're common to have grants in the solid waste. So whenever we can, we will, and once we do, we will make any changes to the budget at that time. So our estimated revenue is 1.827. And then we'll go into our the different expenditures. We have our convenience center, a transfer station, and recycling. Okay. And so we'll break one of those down. The first one is the general administration, which would be like unemployment, office equipment, and that total is $157,700. The convenience center, it includes our laborers, our attendants at the local convenience sites. That is multiple numbers, I would say, that make up the $384,484. I think they have between 15 and 20 part-time laborers. So you can see the different expenditures there for the total. Let's see on my page, total convenience centers. Yes, $627,498.
Why did that go up?
That, the main reason there is the payroll, laborers. The number I pointed out, the 384,484. The number in the middle is an estimated amount, so it was based on last year's payroll schedule. And then on maintenance of equipment, I increased that one from 10,607 to 20,000. And then, we usually need containers, so I put it in for 2 containers in case we don't get the grant. If we do get the grant, you'll see it in the 733 CC NTR, that cost center that you see. I put those for any of the grants. So we're hoping to
Did you
get
put in
grants.
there the cameras?
I mean, just building maintenance,
Okay.
yeah. But
We're gonna
not,
try to put cameras at every recycling center.
Where?
At the recycling center.
okay, on page 31, transfer stations, you have the rest of the employees there. Building maintenance and equipment. The other contracted services is the large item you'll see there for $950,000. That is the disposal fees. That's what it costs us to get rid of that garbage. We have a
What they go up
contract.
to first, and they go up.
The only time we get an increase is a surcharge.
How much is
And we anticipating
It's not with
cost.
that. It will be what we're projecting is the amount of garbage. So it's per pound or per ton.
Okay.
So that's why there's a difference in that.
Okay.
So that total is $1,817,750. I did put in 50,000 for equipment. It's some of the places we've been putting, what is it called? Every month, what did we put in?
Oh,
Compactor.
Compactor.
Yes, compactors.
Tongue
I don't know
tied.
why I couldn't remember that.
We've been putting compactors, trying to get one at every site.
Right.
That there's space for.
Rickman has 2 now.
Two.
Hillham got 1 last year. I think the next one we're gonna try to do is down in Independence.
And that works out really well. That way you don't have to make any trips.
Right, it worked out good,
Yeah,
that's for
it
sure,
did.
but your garbage come through, I out there and I see a lot.
Are y'all ready on page 32? The recycling center?
Yeah.
Okay. That one is $131,000. Let's see if there's any major changes on that.
Are you building any equipment for them, like another new truck or something later on? Because eventually they're gonna have to have some trucks.
Yeah, we did not put in for 1 truck, but what we did was, put different equipments and we may have to combine it, depending on what the greatest
I know
need
they need
was.
a new forklift.
And they need a truck. too.
Well, and see, forklifts we can usually get with grants, so
Yeah.
we're trying to,
Trying
Hope
to
for
get
that.
all we can get through there.
Connie, the containers went to 60,000. Why?
okay, that's just if we can get that many containers, and like I said, we may combine all of the equipment and get 1 truck, or it just depends on what breaks down first.
Why did, okay, you budgeted 6,500 from 2018, what was that, August? And the custodial supplies?
What line?
The revamp.
Oh, you're looking at crushed stone, fertilized lime seeds, stuff like that.
That's,
No, no. You talking
14,
about custodial
14.
supplies?
410.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
okay, I did not budget 2018, we have spent 2018. That's why I was gonna point that out to y'all, it's not budget to budget, this column that you're looking at for the solid waste fund is the estimate that we project it will be spending. So, that 6,000, let's say for custodian, if you look back, it's probably 6,500. I probably budgeted the same.
You got 6,500 down there.
Right, but I'm saying, what I budgeted versus what we spent is 2018. We may have budgeted 6,500, but we haven't spent it all.
Oh, okay.
We never want to spend it all.
You'll have it if you need it.
Yeah.
You'll have it if you need it.
Right, yes. And so the other waste disposal, is the crushed stone and fertilizer that's required out at the landfill, 6,500. And Gary's real good to take care of that and let us know when has to be done and make sure that it's done when it's supposed to. Then on page 33, we have testing that's required.
Farmer Morgan.
Yeah, Farmer Morgan is the current people that do our testing.
How many more years we got on that?
For the rest of our lives. We're supposed to be a 30-year contract, the state, it's not gonna let us out of it, but as soon as they put the water out, the city water through there, and hopefully in October, it'll go down some, because they won't have to test the wells.
We just got the one lady up there that
It's
needs water
awful. Well, there's more on that road now.
now,
Oh,
they built
yeah.
some,
They've started building houses.
but that'll help justify
That'll
getting
help.
water
It
in.
will, yeah.
Because her well is right there beside,
Yeah, I know.
and they have to test her well.
At the old landfill, we're having to, till as long as she's
Is
treating,
that how she gets her water?
as long as she's getting water out of the well.
She's been begging and begging and begging for them to start,
And they will.
and they will, but they have to test her well, is it 4 or 8 times a
I'm
year?
not sure, but they do whatever.
On the,
Yeah,
on
the
the
state
state,
tests it and Farmer Morgan tests it, so.
yeah. I'm
Is
not
it
sure
tested at
how,
Tennessee Tech?
it's a
Uh,
quarter,
It's a state certified lab. I just-
every other quarter,
I don't know.
twice.
So that puts our total expenditures on the solid waste fund, 2,821,448, leaving a projected fund balance at the end of next year, 882,358. Do you have any questions about the solid waste fund? Okay, on page 34 is the drug control fund. No property tax money goes to that fund. That's, fines, and then if they, are able to, get any proceeds from confiscated property, things like that would be the only sources of revenue that go into this fund. It's completely controlled by the sheriff.
What'd you say would be the source of fund, I'm sorry?
Like confiscated properties.
Oh, yeah.
Like if they pulling a vehicle, with drugs and stuff like that. So the revenue, total fines is 4,100. The sale of equipment or damages from individuals, I just budgeted 2,000. It almost always happens that we get a little, but I don't like to count it until I see it, so we've got the total estimated revenues on there. We'll put you on page 35 at 6,300. And then
They have moved to the courthouse annex. The drug,
no,
okay.
We're still
Oh,
over
I
at
think
the
it's
old
another-
pharmacy.
That's another,
It's
Group,
yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. So the, expenditures on that may or may not be, it depends on what John's needs are. This would be confidential drug payments. The major expense there are the dogs. The dogs, taking care of the dogs, feeding the dogs.
Their special food.
Yeah, and they do require, I mean, they're a certain breed and they require certain, types of food and requirements from veterinarians.
They
So
got
that
$2?
puts- Two. Yeah. So 33,160 was projected estimate, leaving that fund balance of 21,855. On page 37, it's our American Rescue Plan. That one will probably be spent out this year. You'll see on the first line, the investment income. This is the sources of revenue that even though the money, was from COVID and now we have had certain projects that we've spent, we were able to earn a little interest on that money. And so far this year, we've earned 82,000, depending on what the rates are, so I put it to half for 40,000. Then the estimated expenditures, that was already approved was for the fairground, the water, the health department, and Monroe. And those expenditures totaled $1,977,000, and that was bring that fund balance down to zero. So the good times are over on that one. Darwin, do you want to go with the highway fund?
Highway fund, local tax is gonna be, as you see, looks like they've got a raise for pennies, $2, and then $1 coming out of the budget, looks like. Property tax revenue is gonna be $566,940. Trustees collection prior year, usually we get some money back, where, they collected. And, their taxes that have been paid to 15,000, prior year, taxes 2,000. Clerk and master fees, if somebody has a judgment or has a emergency utility, one of the guardrails or something, then we get some money from that as well, from insurance companies. Payment a little taxes from the health and utilities, we get a little money from, the work they do. We also get mineral severance tax, which comes from the rock quarry, largest group of links, and that's how we, receive that. We also, on that, I guess that's all. So the total, local revenue for property tax is $697,940. We're gonna look at maybe sell some small things this year, 1,000 for selling materials and supplies, 1,000 for recycled materials and miscellaneous other things, 5,000. And sell equipment will be 20,000, which gives that line a total of $27,000 in revenue.
Did you ever get that money from before that person stole that truck?
Oh, yeah, we got that back, and got another vehicle for it, so, yeah, thank you. State aid program, I think this is the one that James is doing now, it's the one that the state, gave the county $2.8 million for, just state aid roads, and so James has been doing those state aid roads, and probably the 500,000 is what will be left for next year's budget. Other public works, 15,000. Engineering fee, recovery will be 150,000. That's to go along with the bridge. We estimated the bridge 2.3, so I'll have to correct that now that it's come in at a lower rate, so I'll have to redo that. I estimated the gas tax based on the average for the last 11 months, and so if everything holds, we should get around 2.5 million, 2.579,955 in gas tax. That's comes straight from the state. The petroleum tax, which is the oil tax that they use on oil wells and so forth, will be about $12,000. And then we're also going to get some money from the hybrid electric vehicles. The legislature passed it where that you have to pay a tax for road repairs on these electric vehicles, so that's what that's going to be estimated to. That's an average of what we've collected so far, which gives a grand total of total estimated revenue is going to be $6,304,695. So that's what the revenue looks like for next year. All right, going into the expenditures, the top one is the county official. That's the highway superintendent's salary. And that's the supervisor director. Underneath that, underneath this, the elected official, overtime pay, communication, 13, diesel ownership 10, evaluate and testing is 6,500. That's the drug testing that we do for all our employees. Legal services, legal notices, what are ads in the paper that we put out each year for the type of work we're doing. License for vehicles, building maintenance 4,000. I kept everything basically the same as last year. Nothing's increased except just the salary part of it. So the total for the new year for the administration side is 245,693. Now, the 62,000 highway and bridge maintenance committee is where we got our supervisors, our directors there, that works on each of the counties, and they have their own section of the county. It's 192,340. And the equipment operators, which is most of what we have a class A and B type of operators, and so that's going to be 574,144. Truck drivers will be 230,376. Laborers will be 124,100. Overtime pay will be about $60,000. That's basically the same across the board for years past. And that's when we're out cutting trees and trying to clean up the roads in the wintertime and all that. So rentals 10, coal mix $150,000 for the coal mix asphalt. We put $25,000 in there for hot mix. Liquid asphalt, which is the RS2 that we used all the chip with, is $150,000. Crushed stone, likewise, that we have to buy in Kentucky because our group doesn't make the 3X chips here that we use. Pipe for the roads, the top of the plastic pipe, which we try to use mostly because it lasts longer and it saves money for the county by doing that. Metal pipes is only replace those when we have to use those, and they're usually real costly. Continuing on, road signs, $10,000 for those, but we can't, people still in plastic, we can put them up sometime. Salt, 8,000. We don't have a lot of bad weather. We haven't had a lot of bad weather the last few years, so we kept that to a minimum. Sand, we only put in at least one load of sand a year or two loads of sand. Other supplies and materials, 7,000. Other charges, 7,000, which gives a total of $1,718,460 for the highway and bridge. The operation maintenance is the shop. Of course, first one the supervisor, and then the two mechanic, and then overtime pay. That is the freight charges for the whole division. Maintenance repairs of equipment, 50,000. We have a lot of old equipment that's really in bad shape, and it takes a lot of money to keep them up and going, keep them running. Equipment and machinery parts, 50,000. Fuel is 200,000. It's crazy right now. Lubricants, 12,000. Small tools, 6,500. 40,000 in tires and tubes. Uniforms, 5,500, which gives a total in the operations for the maintenance is 477,300. The quarry operation, supervisor 47,059, 97,144 for our equipment operators, which is also one now. Overtime pay 16,000. Explosives drilling, I left that out for the end of the year. I'll probably add that back and make the corrections on the other. We'll probably have to drill and shoot at least one time and shoot next year.
What's the estimate on something like that?
It's about $40,000.
It'll be about 40.
Yeah, that's in the wrong line. That should be up one.
Oh, okay, the
40,000 should be
should be
up on the explosives and drilling, and then the operating lease should only be about $9,600. It's just a line off. So $9,600 for permits. I just noticed that too.
Sorry,
And
I'm sorry.
that's all right. Penalty is 5,000. That's where if we get a fine out at the quarry for something that they didn't like or something, they usually find something to catch us on when they're there. Electricity's 42,000. That they charge us $3,500 a month, whether we're turning on or turning off. If we're going to be down for several months, they will give us a little bit of a break. They'll charge us to 35. I mean, they'll charge us 800. So, but they're still getting their fee. Equipment and managed machinery parts, 35,000, and that's mostly for the meal part, because, one part of the meal is older than I am, I think. And then lubricants, uniforms, and then the total operational quarries will be 294,303. Other charges are 65,000, that's just our liability insurance, our premium, security, trustees commission, workers' compensation, and Connie gave me the numbers for those, or helped me with those numbers. And employee benefits, Social Security, state retirement, life insurance, medical insurance, unemployment compensation, and fringe benefits. And we're able to come down on our insurance some this year. I had it estimated a little high the year before, but it's more in line this year. So we've got a total of 600,500, and then capital outlay will be engineering fees, when you saw that's the flow through, 150,000. Matching for the bridges, 5,000 for the bridge, 10,000 for the roads, 500,000 will be for asphalt next year. And then I'll drop that 2.2 down to 1.9, so it'll match the revenue coming in for that as well. So with that being said, that gives a total of that line 2.865 million, with a total expenditures of 6.433256, which is a negative 28,561 that we would be in our fund balance beginning July 1. Our estimated fund balance for June 30, which should be 548,445. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them. But it's basically the same budget as it was last year, other than the salary. Pretty bare bones. We've got 652 miles of road that we're trying to keep up, maintain low, and ditch and oil and chip and all, and try to keep the lids cut back. And we've got right at 800 roads now that we're taking care of. So
655 miles,
652 miles.
652 miles.
Yeah. About $3,000 a mile is what it works out to.
You said there was 800
800
roads.
roads, yeah. If you left here today, right now from here, you probably, if you went 652 miles, you'd be in Texas somewhere. So, you got any questions? Thank you all. Appreciate your time.
On page 45, our debt service fund. We've all worked hard on getting the debt down. The local taxes for the general debt service fund, we are no longer putting any property tax money into that fund. The local taxes is $46,325. Investment income, we budgeted $200,000. I don't know what rate's gonna do, so it may be better. But we've got total local revenues of $201,000.
That's what she is. She was asking about the property tax for the debt service for 24-25 budget.
I'm sorry, what?
The property tax, she was asking about, the number zero there.
Yeah, we used to
That's right.
put money in the
Yeah.
debt service fund.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
we haven't been doing that because we're accountable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So in the far right column of page 46. Total revenue and other sources, 247,325. And then on page 47. What I did here was I just budgeted in case we do, if we do borrow money, we would already have budgeted for the work that goes behind the scenes in order to get that money, which would be like the fiscal agent charges, and then you have the trustees commission, and if there were any kind of fines or penalties, which I don't expect. So that's 45,500. And so that fund balance would end up at 1.985617. And then we're proposing that we take 448,000 out of that fund to pay for the land by Tractor Supply. The other 500,000, even though the grant for the health department is it will be reimbursed as a reimbursable grant. We have to have some money to start off paying the engineers and architects. So that 500,000 would go into a capital projects fund. At the end of that time, then it will revert back into this fund.
So you're gonna pull it out of debt service?
Uh-huh.
You're gonna pull it out of debt service?
Yes. And then, you know, we expected it to go back after we get reimbursed for everything, unless y'all decide something different, but,
The reimbursements was 60 to 90 days, but now it's 30, so
yeah, but I don't,
that's what they're
I
saying.
still won't
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
that happen.
That's the reason
I don't
why she
trust
has
that.
the 500.
So on page 49, you'll see a capital projects fund, and it's where, last year, you guys made the decision to put the TVA revenue into this capital projects fund, and it worked out really well. We were able to get 2 ambulances, and they were just delivered last week. So, so we took the sheriff's department vehicles out of the general fund budget and the ambulances out of the general fund budget and put it here in this capital projects fund. And that way we can stay on rotation and keep those vehicles, purchased and rolling, taking care of our citizens. And then on the next, on page 50, I've got capital projects fund 179, but it's actually another 178. And that's the 500,000 for the startup of the health department project. It's another 178. I thought it was supposed to be 179, but it's not. So that's 50 pages of budget. That gives you the overall, breakdown of how the money is spent and allocated. Do you have any questions?
Did a good job.
Oh,
Make it simple to understand, I appreciate it.
good, that's what I want, that's how we use it practically.
This will be in the paper this week, right?
Yes, I got it to the newspaper, we're required to put the proposed, yeah, the tax levy rate, and then also I did the budget hearing that we put on an annual basis in there. So that information, is in the Overton County News this week, and then the next week it will be in the Superintendent's office. We'll probably also put it on the website.
You keep those. It has to be in the paper 10 days before we vote on it, and that will bring us up to the 24th. When we go for it.
And we get any phone calls on the tax rate.
Yes, we'll get a lot.
I got mine.
And so, but I want y'all to know where it's going, where it's spent, know what you're voting on, and,
I told her.
that way, you know, there's a lot of information, it's not just, you know, if they're not in it, if someone's not involved in it, there'll be a lot of information we can share that will help them understand what the decisions are made. Behind all the pressures will be a limited, you only have a limited amount of revenue to be able to work. But y'all done a great job, Tim, here.
No, we shouldn't, we should be done.
Are we meeting the rest of the week then, or we?
The budget committee will need to, the budget committee will still need to meet.
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Probably just tomorrow.
No, Wednesday for sure, because schools will be here.
Oh, okay. We won't need to meet tomorrow, the budget
Do
committee.
y'all have any questions?
We're gonna go to school when,
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
or what over tomorrow.
Well, we didn't know how far we'd get on this.
Okay.
So, if y'all don't wanna meet, you don't have to.
When do we let you know what we don't agree with?
Well, you either, make changes, have
And we're
make
gonna-
changes or propose those
We're gonna sit
changes.
down like we usually do, and go through places and slash, or and do
Well,
what,
that's what you did Friday.
not really.
You wanna do it again, that's fine.
I mean, not really, we didn't really
Well, that's fine.
I mean, as a whole group, we do.
Oh,
Yeah, we need to,
well, if y'all wanna do that, that's fine.
I
You
think
wanna
we
do
need
that
to do
tomorrow?
that tomorrow.
I mean,
Is that just the budget committee?
No, everybody.
No, just,
Everybody tomorrow.
what time?
yeah.
I mean, if you,
Could we make it a little bit later? Maybe 5:15?
It's been, well,
It's already published for 5, but 5:15 is fine, we can come from it.
Okay,
You can come when you can come.
Yeah, we usually don't get started on time now.
okay.
We didn't today, did we?
Then Wednesday, the education committee meets.
Yes, they will be bringing their budget and any amendments, and then the budget committee will meet after that, and then also on the 20th. The education committee will meet on the 20th,
So
and
we will meet tomorrow for the education?
Wednesday,
Education.
Yeah, that's at 4 o'clock,
We
right?
all meet.
I believe it is at 4.
4
Yes,
o'clock.
it's on the budget thing.
That's at 4 o'clock.
Budget's fine.
And then we gotta meet
Let's look
again
and
when?
see.
Hang on just a second, guys.
I'm not understanding what they're saying. Tomorrow, we're gonna be here at 5 o'clock.
I put out education at 5
Everybody.
and budget at 5:30.
Okay,
Is that
education's at
Wednesday?
5.
And then
On Wednesday.
Wednesday, need to be here.
I'm talking about Thursday the 20th, everybody's,
Oh, Thursday.
Oh, this is
4 o'clock
Thursday?
Wednesday, we're here tomorrow.
okay,
This is Wednesday, right, Connie?
okay, let's go from the 10th. We're all here, right?
Start from the
yeah, it's just
We're
kind of,
really
it's just
here.
kind of mumbling.
Okay, on Tuesday the 11th, we're scheduled to meet tomorrow at 5. We're gonna look at cutting the budget.
Okay.
Okay. Wednesday, education committee meets at 4, budget at 5. Wednesday the 12th,
Everybody need to be here or just the education committee?
just the education committee and budget, if you are done with what you're doing tomorrow,
Okay.
okay?
If not, well, I'll need to meet then.
Right,
Okay.
yes. Then, I have a budget meeting scheduled for the 17th at 3, and that's to open bids for the jail food and non-food,
That's just for the budget.
just for budget committee, but anybody's welcome.
There's a Narcan training in Cook, at, Lost State. What happened there?
What day, please?
It's at noon at Lost State.
What
Down
time?
there,
What time?
noon. That's on,
So tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
15?
down
Yeah,
there.
holler at me, I make sure.
I'll see if I can get you in on it.
Okay, so we got to Monday the 17th.
Okay, listen up.
And
Listen
we're
up.
still, is the opiate committee still meeting that day?
I don't know, you'll have to check with the opioid, chair.
Just a second now. Connie's going over your meetings, so let's listen up.
Yes, Shannon was right.
Yeah, I guess she was.
On Thursday,
Other hand.
the 20th, education committee meets at 5 and budget at 5:30.
On the 20th?
On the 20th, Thursday, the 20th,
Budget at what time?
5:30.
We'll send everybody out.
And public safety is gonna be at 6.
Too
Yes.
bad, wouldn't it?
Yes,
Public safety's at 6, we gotta, take Roxanne off as a judicial commissioner.
Is there also a budget meeting on June the 18th for highway material
I don't know.
bids?
Yes.
So
Really?
they're
Highway bids, what-
What?
what time is that, Darwin? The
It
highway
says
bids?
5 on here, on this thing it says 5.
Okay. So Tuesday, the 18th, budget, open highway bids at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock's hour.
We jumped ahead there, so.
Did we?
The most
Did
important
we?
thing is tomorrow at 5.
Mark,
So.
Let's take one day at a time.
whatever.
Tomorrow at 5. 4 is for the education committee.
On
I
Wednesday.
got that.
Steve, you're on it.
Tuesday, the 18th, what are we meeting for? Open the bids?
Highway
material
bids.
bids.
Yeah, we always bid, all
Asphalt.
material bids.
I have to put this.
It'll take a little while to do those.
Let now, 20th, Stephen on the public safety, Lillian said.
She was taken off a long time ago, but it was still
Never
left
had-
on the thing.
Oh, okay.
She's supposed to have been taken off.
What time? Is that?
She never was taken
Never
off.
was officially. It's at 6, because they had the other meetings at 5:30. But it has to be in, we had to have so many days in there, and then had to get it, had been done in the paper so many days.
No, it's Juneteenth and our office is closed,
Can't you do
so
that?
I'll be working behind the scenes, but no.
We got
I'm
to
covering
change
it.
for it.
All right, tomorrow at 5. We are adjourned.